You're listening to Real Stories, the series where I take the women I work with and turn them into the heroines of their own journey. Each episode, a woman, a pattern, a body that was trying to tell her something she hadn't learned to hear yet. Let's get into today's story. This episode is a little bit different because this isn't one woman. This is a pattern I have seen show up in front of me more times than I can count. She has different jobs, different lives, different faces. She's a teacher, a mother, a caretaker, or a therapist. A friend who everyone calls first. But she's always somehow the same. It is the good girl. And I used to be her too. She arrives looking put together, apologizing for being a few minutes late or for asking too many questions or for taking up space in a way that cost me nothing. She smiles quickly, she's easy to talk to, warm, considerate, and underneath all of that, she is exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. She comes to me with a body that won't stop complaining, a belly that bloats no matter what she eats, a cycle that's all over the place or even missing, tension that lives permanently in her shoulders, her jaw, her chest, just this quiet unrest. She gets overwhelmed fast, she burns out easily, and she cannot, for the life of her, figure out why. Because from the outside, she is doing everything right. She's helpful, she's reliable, she puts everyone first. And that last part, that's the thing. The good girl learned early that love was something you earned, that being needed was the same as being wanted, that the way to stay safe was to stay small, agreeable, available, never too much, never too loud. So she built a life around giving, and she got very, very good at it. What she didn't learn was how to receive, how to say no without guilt sitting heavy in her chest, how to feel anger, real clean anger, without immediately swallowing it back down and calling herself sensitive. Because she does feel it. Underneath the calm, underneath the helping, underneath the constant management of everyone else's needs, there's something in her that wants to take up more space. Something in her that is tired of shrinking. Something that is honestly a little furious. Her body knows. It has always known. The bloating, the irregular cycle, the tension that won't leave, these aren't random. They are her body holding everything she hasn't been allowed to express. Stress that has nowhere to go, anger that was never given a voice, needs that were put at the bottom of the list so many times they stopped being asked. When I work with a good girl, we don't start with her symptoms. We start with her energy. And I mean that in the most practical way. We look at what fills her up and what drains her completely and really go deep in it. We look at her week and where she is on that list. Usually, she isn't on it at all. We look at the masculine and the feminine energies running inside her because she's almost always stuck in a wounded version of both. Overdoing, overgiving, overcontrolling, that is the wounded masculine. People pleasing, shrinking, waiting for permission, that's the wounded feminine. She is caught between the two, exhausted by both, and nobody has ever named it for her before. So we work on her boundaries, not as rules she enforces on others, but as a relationship she builds with herself. We work on her worth, on the deep, quiet belief that she's only valuable when she's useful and what it feels like to let that go. And slowly, something starts to shift. She starts speaking up in the moments she used to go quiet. She starts choosing herself first. Not always, not perfectly, but enough. And her body begins to settle. Her cycle starts to regulate, the bloating eases, the tension in her jaw softens because she is finally saying the things she used to swallow. She stops waiting to be given permission to take up space and she just does it. If you recognize yourself in her, in the exhaustion that doesn't make sense, in the anger you keep calling sensitivity, or in the life you build around everyone else and the quiet voice inside you asking, but what about me? That voice is not too much. That voice is the most important thing. So, the woman I work with who started exactly where you are right now, they have quit jobs that were slowly emptying them. They left relationships that were keeping them small, started speaking up in the rooms where they used to go quiet. But more than any of that, they woke up one day and recognized themselves again. They stopped waiting for permission. They stopped apologizing for needing things. They built a life with themselves at the center of it. A morning that starts with them, a body that actually trusts, a version of themselves they are not ashamed of. And that is not a fantasy. I've watched it over and over in women who arrived exactly like you, like me, exhausted, overlooked, and secretly wondering if this is just what it feels like in life right now. It isn't. There's more. And there are some easy ways to start a change to that empowered woman within you. So come move with me, take the energy map quiz, or book a call and let's find out what you have been carrying that was never yours to hold. Check the show notes and let's keep in contact.